Oh, Aries, and welcome to your December 2021 reading. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, and rising for a more well-rounded perspective, and take what resonates and leave the rest. All right, let's go ahead and begin. We are going to start out with the Bodacious Bodock. This feels like this is a bit of a theme for the month. The word that comes out the most is bodacious, and I know it does not seem to resonate with the image per se, but bear with me as I translate what I'm getting with this. And for the most part, what's coming out the strongest is the word bodacious, and I feel like that's coming through very strong in a very 1980s, 1990s definition of the word. Just really kind of getting into yourself, vibing with yourself, appreciating what you have and what you have to offer. So it's a kind of a very carefree, into yourself sort of feeling. But when we put that into connection with the image, I just get an overall sense with this image. He's a bit guarded, kind of pulling away from whatever it is that he is looking at, or is in the image, or what would be perceived to be off to the left of the figure, or his right, I guess it would be. Ultimately, it just is kind of putting in contrast the sense of feeling and how you're kind of vibing with yourself, vibing with the general direction of where you're going, feeling yourself, for lack of a better term, and how it's kind of coming into contrast to, at the same time, not feeling confident in how you are being accepted by the group or the crowd or that which is within your perimeter. So trying to figure out how to merge the two, and the clash that happens when you vibe with yourself and you kind of like who you are and you're like who you're becoming and you're really kind of getting into your interests, recognizing that that doesn't necessarily jive with people who are in your personal arena, in your personal group or your personal tribe, and then trying to kind of weigh how much that may or may not matter to you. Are you going to stick with that which brings you what makes you feel good, what makes you feel happy, what makes you feel a little bit more alive, makes you feel a little bit more like you can accept yourself? Or are you going to let that go because it's not what jibes with your tribe? And so that's a bit of a clash. I feel overall, as you move through the month, you're going to choose yourself. So it's one of those things where it's off-putting in the beginning because you realize who you're becoming might not fit into your personal tribe. But if you have to choose between sacrificing this part of yourself that brings you happiness to stay in the tribe, or to leave the tribe so that you can be who you are, ultimately I feel like there is going to be a lean, as there should be, towards choosing yourself. But this is the overall energy I'm getting from the month of December. So essentially the month of December is really kind of bringing that, going in, doing that internal work and meeting yourself and meeting the parts of yourself that you feel you want to bring to the surface and are willing to eventually choose that over everything else because it makes you happy, and knowing full well and eventually getting to the point where you can trust that once you genuinely embrace yourself, your most authentic self, your tribe will come. You'll become a magnet for your tribe, and that eventually those people will eventually come into your life, and you won't have to stay guarded. You can actually just be yourself, and be yourself around the people who accept you for who you are. We're continuing this conversation with the Six of Pentacles. I feel like this is the energy that is occurring as we close on the month of November and enter into the month of December. And this really is about give and take. But with this particular imagery, what really comes to play to mind, what I'm really seeing right away, is that sense of secrecy. And even though he has some, he's still anticipating others. He's anticipating more. So there's a sense of secrecy because you want more, even if you're not deserving of more. This particular image is not deserving of more. They have. So they're actually potentially taking some from what could eventually be given to somebody else if they didn't take it. So I feel that this is in line though with this card and that message about seeing yourself who you are. Like that's what's in this person's hand. I feel is actually representing that kind of secrecy and holding back of yourself out of fear of not being accepted. I feel that that's what this person is hiding. That's what this person is representing as hiding behind their back. So they're still trying to join in the crowd. They're still trying to receive acceptance from the crowd being this half of the imagery, the person, being with the tribe that's giving and taking in this particular imagery, while also maintaining this aspect. But you'll get to the point where this will clash, which I already said with this particular card. You'll get to the point where that aspect of yourself that you see is who you want to be, and that aspect that you have to hide ultimately so that you can still participate in what you have been participating in, it's going to come to a head. It's going to clash, and you will have to choose. You'll have to choose to either let go what you're hiding so you can continue receiving, or you're going to have to eventually realize that what you're receiving from this particular participation, this community, isn't feeding your soul anymore, and what you already have will. So hopefully that makes sense. But I feel like this is just kind of validating what I've already said regarding this particular card and the energy that this card was emphasizing. That's going to be sort of the theme for the month of December. But this is something that I feel is going to arise as you close the month of November and enter into the month of December. So it's a bit of a validation of what we've already received as a message in that first card. We finally have the Knight of Pentacles, and I feel like this is a storyline presentation of once you realize that you have what you need and you actually accept that you have everything that you need, you're going to be able to, there's a self-worth that is going to come from this, but also just knowing your place and knowing what you give as a result of it, knowing what you can provide for not just grounding in yourself, but others in your life. So you're going to be able to sort of settle into this personification of yourself that makes you feel more whole, and then also ultimately gets you to a point where you are going to be the giver and not really the receiver. Now, does this mean that you're going to be the one who creates your own tribe? Potentially, but I feel like it goes deeper than that. I feel like this also means that by embracing yourself, embracing that which you're hiding, embracing that which you feel is kind of putting you on the outs because it is the more authentic version of who you are, you're just going to be able to ride into a new town. I don't know why that phrase comes into mind, but, I think it really fits with this imagery about just really getting onto your own horse, riding into your own knighthood, and seeing where that travel takes you, where that will lead you. And it will lead you into the position of leading others for sake of maybe personal battles. But it really does come down to that self-acceptance and the growth that comes from it, and where it can lead you as far as feeling confident in who you are and what you have to give, and how you fit into the community at large. And however you define community can be multifaceted, and it can be your family, it can be actual community, it can be work, it can be all of that. But there's just overall a sense of kind of everything kind of coming together. But it comes down to you embracing this part of yourself that for whatever reason you are hiding. And ultimately it feels like you are hiding because of acceptance. It has to do with acceptance. We have the Two of Wands here, and I feel that this is coming in strong with the end of the month, and it has to do with family connection. First thing that comes to mind when I see this imagery, it has to do with family connection. So it can tie in with this when you consider how when we get to the point where we can accept ourselves fully and wholeheartedly without any reservation, it makes it so that we feel that we have a better understanding of our place in community, and that includes our community with the family. But I feel like that also is going to play a part when you get together with family with holidays this particular season. And however you may or may not celebrate, it may mean at some point, okay, what's coming through really strong right now is that fact of how maybe the lifestyle that you have found yourself, the life path that you have found yourself on, doesn't particularly match that of what you were brought up with. But when you get to the point where you're able to embrace it no matter what, it makes it that you just kind of move with an air of self-confidence, because you accept yourself no matter what. And I feel like that energy is going to be something that your family is going to be able to vibe with, so that even though they might not necessarily understand some of the things that you now believe in, they see you for who you are, and it really kind of helps them to accept you, because you've kind of laid the groundwork of accepting who you are, and they can follow the path that you have already left behind in your wake in this personal quest of yours to accept you as well. But I feel like overall, this particular aspect of your personal journey is going to make connections, especially this holiday season, kind of be healthier and more fulfilling than it may have been in previous years. Also, I do get an overall sense of just looking forward to connecting with family in a way that has been missed. And I feel that does seem to connect quite heavily with just the events that have transpired in the course of the last year or so. So there's just, even if you don't necessarily get along with family, there is a sort of desire to kind of get back to and connect with some part of your roots, some part of who you were prior to this, and allow you to maybe face some grounding that can come as a result of that, to remember who you were and how that plays a part in who you are now as a way of strength, and just connecting with family from a moral support perspective. But definitely, I feel like the holidays is going to give you an opportunity for healing and growth on a level, but you will already have done the groundwork leading into the holiday season. We're ending with truth, and I feel like this is kind of ending the month reading as far as this is, again, an energy perspective. We started the energy perspective for the month of December to be that bodacious, bodak feeling that I was getting as far as the secrecy that seemed to be coming with this, and ultimately the secrecy had to do in relation with who you are and self-acceptance, and this is sort of being tied in and letting you know that it's all about your internal truth, truth for you, truth for who you are, your most authentic core truths that have remained no matter who you were or how you tried to fit in. There's this aspect of yourself that has always been there, even if you dismissed it, even if you tried to shroud it, even if you tried to ignore it, try to pretend that it wasn't there. The truth has always remained, and there's just an overall overarching sense that the month of December is going to have you not just realizing this truth, but finally being at a point where you feel like no matter what, you can actually embrace this truth about yourself. And there is a little bit of, I just got a hit too, like kind of a download as well, that this is also coming into play about perspective of the world at large. So there's a truth that you've been sort of kind of aware of, but not really allowing yourself to consider. And through the process of the month of December, whether it's related or not, doesn't matter. There is an overall sense that solid truths are going to have light shine on it, or you're going to feel the need to shine the light on that truth and finally embrace it for what it is. All right, that is all I have for you for the month of December for 2022. I hope this reading has been everything that you're hoping for and more. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, and rising for a more well-rounded perspective, and we will see you in a future video.